Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Creepy and Weird podcast. I'm Amy,
I'm Jamie.
and today we decided to talk about what was he called? The Miami, the Miami.
Cannibal. It was the Miami Cannibal attack,
Yeah.
I believe is what the media was calling it and still calling it. Yeah. So that was fun.
Mm.
That was my ill-timed Florida trip. I was there while that happened. So
10 or so years ago, zombie films, video games, and other media were everywhere. The Zombie Survival Guide had come out a while back, so it's no surprise that some people lost their when they were watching the news and there was a story about a man attacking a homeless man and eating his face off. Was he a cannibal? Was he on bath salts? Was he a zombie trying to get to the man's brain? What the hell was going on here? Oh, God.
Honestly, I mentioned this when we first started talking about doing this. I was in Florida at that time, and it was weird because there was a tropical storm coming in, and it was like this weird events. There were the wildfires in Orlando, and they had to shut down the interstate, and then this happened Saturday morning, and I remember we were trying to figure out what we were going to do because we couldn't go to Orlando. Yeah. And we turned on the news and this was all you saw. And it was 11 a.m., Saturday. And the news anchors are like, yes, we're going to show you this video, get the kids out of the room, sort of thing. And it was just holy shit, let's just go.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did. And then we spent the rest of the time in St. Augustine and had a blast.
News outlets started running with the story of how the synthetic drug bath salts was responsible for the attack, even though it came out later when he was tested by toxicology that Rudy Eugene only had marijuana in his system, though that's been disputed. I don't know.
Yes, it has been disputed. There was another guy who was a medical examiner who stated that the synthetic bath salts actually weren't
being tested for.
Yeah, they weren't being tested for. They didn't know what to test for at that point in time. So it's still entirely possible that bath salts could have been the culprit and they just weren't on standard toxicology reports.
Yeah, they're usually testing for the usual 5 or 6, narcotics and cocaine and pot and stuff. They're not usually testing
PCP,
for yeah. Whatever the hell.
My first thought was I was surprised when the toxicology report came back because honestly I was like, dude's got to be on PCP. Yeah. Dude has to be on PCP.
Yeah, that's the closest thing I could have come up with.
Yeah. I was like,
isn't that what the dude who cut off his wiener?
Fire paramedic operator 178. What's the address of the emergency?
Man, we have a friend that was over here and he just damn when he's talking this motion right now. We don't know if he's alive or not.
You need to call, but jumped off.
Yeah, second floor.
Oh, Christberry. Okay, a Wu-Tang Clan affiliated rapper who cut off his own penis and jumped off a second floor balcony in 2014. Okay. Andre Johnson.
Okay. I know what you're talking about now. I was like, wait, I didn't think anybody from Wu-Tang did that, but I forgot about
affiliated. Yes. Okay, so at the time, zombie apocalypse preppers thought Rudy Eugene was patient zero and represented the beginning of World War Z. There were conspiracy theories out there that the bath salt story was a false flag to cover up the fact that zombies existed. The Zombie Survival Guide notes that the one thing people should look for when trying to figure out if a zombie attack is going to happen includes cases of violent insanity in which the subject attacked friends or family without the use of weapons. It says, find out if the attacker bit or tried to bite his victims. If so, are any of the victims still in the hospital? Try to discover if any of these victims mysteriously died within days of their bite.
You know what I think is so funny about this? I'm sorry, I just want to, the Zombie Survival Guide, which, I have a copy and I got it when it came out. And I think Max Brooks wrote a great piece of satire with that, in the styling of an actual bushcraft book, I have Bushcraft 101 and so I thought it was great how he did this, but then there were people that thought this was a legit book. This was an actual
Yep.
Yeah. And it's But it's a joke. It's just a joke. Anyways.
So apparently there were also internet reports of a new virus called LQP79, which was supposedly being spread around the world. There were no credible sources for this, but of course most people don't seem to look for the credible sources. And it originated from a YouTube video and a website basically
Imagine
made by
that. Sorry.
So
misinformation from a YouTube video.
Oh, imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on May 26, 2012, 31-year-old Rudy Eugene was planning to go to a hip-hop festival in Miami's South Beach called Urban Beach Week. His Chevy Caprice broke down along the way. He hung around the vehicle for about half an hour or so, which was caught on security tape, before he abandoned the vehicle. He decided to just cross the 3-mile MacArthur Causeway on foot. Along the way, he threw off his driver's license and just started stripping off all of his clothes, according to witnesses.
It was hot that weekend, and there was a tropical storm coming.
It contained the vehicle was later found by police. It contained a Bible and 5 empty water bottles, because, again, it was a hot day. Okay. And meanwhile, across the causeway here, 65-year-old homeless man, Ronald Poppo, was lying underneath the Metro Mover viaduct, presumably minding his own business. It was about 1:55 p.m. when he was approached by a naked man who spoke to him briefly, allegedly accused him of stealing his Bible, and began beating him. He dragged Poppo around by the ankles, causing his pants to fall off. Eventually, both men ended up naked, and, when searching for this, I found a Breitbart YouTube channel video where they're, saying a rape occurred, and I think that would have been reported. So, no, this was some sort of race-baiting crap.
You saw the majority, the I can't talk. The Miami Herald video, and that camera was on that. So had there been a rape, dude, the Miami Herald would have been all over that, because that was their, dude, the news fell in their backyard.
Yeah.
And sorry.
So anyway, but yeah, there is video of the whole thing, which a couple seconds here and there, there's palm trees in the way, but most of it you can kind of see him throwing them around and beating them, and eventually it ends up there. You just see both of their legs up on the top there.
And that's what makes me wonder, because you could tell at first, dude, nobody in the Miami Herald had any idea what was going on out there. It wasn't until, and then it's you had somebody in that security room, moving that camera, and zooming in, trying to so.
But that was towards the last couple minutes, and then they're zooming in and looking for police cars, because eventually a bunch of police cars came. But, But yeah, okay, anyway. So Eugene can be seen throwing Poppo to the ground at some point. Eugene strangles Poppo, attacked him with wrestling holds, then plucked out both of his eyes. He also chewed off about 80% of his face above the beard. The Miami Herald security cameras were pointed towards the west end of the MacArthur Causeway. Some of the events are obscured by palm trees or dividers, but the entire incident is more or less captured on the security video, which lasts about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, you see if bicyclists drive by. Some slow down to look, then speed back up again, because they're holy shit,
Yeah. There's the one dude who's you can see watch him start to slow down, and then he looks and then swerves out and keeps going.
This.
Thanks for calling the cops.
Yeah, so one of them, Larry Vega, was responsible for alerting the police. Miami police officer Jose Ramirez arrived on the scene shortly after. He can be seen strolling up to the sidewalk, and you see him sort of strolling up casually before sort of does a double take. And then he sort of backs up and comes back up once he sees the two naked men covered in blood, and he verbally warned Eugene to stop his attack. And you can just imagine him. There's no sound. It's just sir, I'm going to need you to stop doing that.
Right.
Please stop being in that man's face.
In this one instant, I think you pretty much agree. Dude, if he would have went straight for his gun, I wouldn't have blamed him.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I stumbled, I would be oh my God, but give him credit.
Yeah.
He tried reason. Tried reason.
So Ramirez is warning him off, like, cut that out, buddy. And so Eugene reportedly growled at Ramirez at this point, and then went right back to eating Poppo's face.
That's time number 2, man. I would have already double tapped him.
Oh,
like
yeah.
One time, and then you growl at me, dude. Yeah, no, sorry. I played Resident Evil.
So at this point, Officer Ramirez shot Eugene once at first, but this didn't stop him or even slow down the attack. So he felt he had no choice but to continue shooting, and he shot him another 4 times, which again, okay,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
at this point, Eugene stopped the attack and died. Poppo's legs can be seen, and he's writhing in pain.
That would totally stop an attack. Just saying.
He tries to sit up at some point. Eventually, he's put on a backboard and taken to the hospital. And at this point, you can also see Rudy Eugene's legs, and he's stopped moving at this point.
Yeah.
So Poppo was in critical condition upon admission to Jackson Memorial Hospital. His left eye had been completely gouged out, and the other was partially gouged out and damaged. He had months of facial reconstruction surgeries. He was missing his nose, parts of his cheeks and forehead, and his left eye. The right eye was eventually also lost due to damage after they found that the lack of vision in it was not improving, so they eventually just had to take it out, that and infections and things. So, various facial reconstruction surgeries and skin grafts. He was treated by psychologists and psychiatrists for PTSD, among other things, which is good. And otherwise, he didn't much enjoy talking about the event itself. The doctor said he was a pleasant person, and they were pleased with his progress. And they repeatedly offered more and more, offers for reconstructive surgery, but such a surgery to rebuild the nose, and he didn't want this. He was blind and said he wouldn't appreciate looking better, for himself, and he only cared that the wounds were closed up, and said he was content with how he is now. He doesn't want more surgery because it was not bothering him, which makes sense.
Yeah, if you can't see it, so.
Yeah. So the doctors said they were only doing the reconstructive surgeries that the patient wants, rather than pressuring him to get more surgeries to look normal. They also told him they could have him fitted with prosthetic eyes and a prosthetic nose if he wanted, but he was not interested in these either. Poppo doesn't have a visitor list and doesn't want to talk to most of his relatives except for his sister, and apparently they had all presumed that he had died long before any of this happened. So he also had physical therapy and support from an organization for blind people. He had to be acclimated to the environment and to not being able to see anymore, and started using a cane. And one video from the association for helping blind people said that a cane is an obstacle finder, whereas a seeing eye dog is an obstacle avoider. So they've gotten him a guitar, and he's been relearning how to play that without being able to see the guitar. And he's also very fond of coffee.
I thank the outpouring of people in the community. I will always be grateful for that.
And he says about Rudy Eugene, I am sure he was having a bad day.
Which is, honestly, and that's actually, I feel bad for him. The guy was minding his own business and was pointlessly and savagely attacked. And, but he has a positive outlook on it. And, being able to sympathize with your attacker when you're a victim that's a big thing. That's like a therapy milestone of some sort. And what bothers me about this though too is the fact that even still there's no motive.
My eyes got plucked out. He chewed at my face. He just ripped me to ribbons. Basically, that's all there is to say about him. For a very short amount of time, I thought he was a good guy, but he just went and turned berserk. He apparently didn't have a good day at the beach, and he was coming back. And I guess he took it out on me or something. I don't know.
There's no reason.
Yeah.
We don't know why this happened. And wasn't it? Yes. Dude said he took his Bible, but his Bible was still in his car, right?
Yeah. So the police said they found the Bible in his car along with the empty water bottles.
Which, at that point in time, that was the only motive. The only thing we got is that Rudy Eugene thought that
And supposedly
Ronald Poppo
Eugene
stole his Bible.
had worked in some way with homeless people and had like briefly met Poppo before, but like it wasn't a total stranger, but at the same time he didn't seem to have any motive.
Right.
It's not like they were fighting.
So they did know each other.
They had encountered each other at least.
All right, they were acquainted at least, kind of. Yeah. All right.
Seen each
Not
other
friends,
before.
but
yeah.
All right. Yeah, see, I didn't catch that. Now, I sent you the one video and where they had interviewed Eugene's former girlfriend on Dr. Phil of all people. But I mean, she wasn't able to really shed any light on, why this happened either. She even said he was a nice person. He always treated her good, and
well, hopefully he didn't try to eat her face off, or she wouldn't have been with him,
Right. But yeah, so it just seemed weird, and that's part of the this case is just the all around. It's the total package of creepy and weird.
Yeah, and that's why it spread so far and wide, and
Oh yeah,
it's an unusual case.
That morning, even like I said, being in Florida that morning, once this hit, like by noon, I had people from Pennsylvania texting me, like freaking out, like, where are you at? And I'm like, we're nowhere near this. We're good. Like everything's fine. The biggest thing we had to worry about was the tropical storm. But yeah, like, and it was just weird though. And yeah, like I remember like the news was just like all over it, like hours. It seemed like it hit international, I think.
Yep.
You go back and look, it became international news like in no time.
Yeah, and it just forms part of the whole legend of Florida man too.
Right. It literally dominated headlines over the tropical storm that was about to hit, and the fact that the interstate into Orlando from Daytona Beach was shut down due to a wildfire. Like, yeah. So, and that was even local, like those were big deals. Like, hey, can't travel. Hey, we have a storm coming. And yeah, like those were like way down in the headlines at that point.
And meanwhile, dude's eating dude's face.
Yeah. And, the other weird
things,
I remember from being there too, that same day. And I was just like, what the Florida? That same day, Rudy Eugene was going on. And then there was a guy in like northern Florida who ate a kitten's face. I remember, ate a kitten's face off. I'm like, what? Why?
Something in the water for face eating? What the
Something that weekend. I mean, I don't know. I was just like, let's go back to Pennsylvania.
In a weird alignment.
We know what to do with zombies in Pittsburgh.
Holy hell.
Yeah, it was like insanity. I was like, it's more time to come here.
This is what I got. It's Mexican candy assortment.
Ooh.
They just put, chili powder on all the things.
Right?
That's
yes. Yeah.
I got Tapatio pickles. Oh, wait. Wrong camera.
I got, let me see if we can get it. No, it's gonna create screen again. I have the Black Forge coffee tea, the Empress Rising brand.
Other than that, I don't know anything going on. I've been like falling down YouTube rabbit holes. I was watching Disturbance channel, and that's I think why I was thinking of Ronald Poppo.
Right. Well, and it's just a good story to do. For me, I haven't been on YouTube too much because I've been binge watching series. I started the Netflix brand new cherry flavor, and I binge watched it in one entire day. And wow, that was different. I enjoyed it. They went some places where I was like, wow, they're really going to do this? Oh my God, they're doing this. But definitely check it out if you just like weird horror 90s things. I mean, it's set in the 90s. And then what was the other thing I've done? Oh, started binge watching One Mississippi. It was a Netflix original, and it is the stand-up Tig Notaro. I was only ever familiar with her stand-up comedy. I didn't even realize that she had a show that's like a loose, like biography of her life. And then so somebody recommended it to me and I started watching it and I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I got lost in the not horror rabbit hole for a little bit there. Needed to take a break. And yeah, so
now everybody's doing stuff on Pazuzu Algarad. I noticed Dr. Grande did one.
Yeah, I can't remember which streaming service it was. It's either Hulu or Netflix that just released The Devil You Know. That was the name of it, right? Yes. They with the Pazuzu episode, so it's now on all the streaming services, so it's trending again. So.
And I guess there's a Bob Ross documentary. I was looking for my mints here. They're happy little tree mints.
Yeah, I've just been getting weird or lost in weird stuff. Oh, I watched Annette. That was so weird and French, and yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was strange, and I should have known that going into it because I'm not always a big fan of musicals. So
that's what I was watching non-horror was Lawrence Krauss's podcast, and like he's insufferable. I mean, just his personality, not like even going with any allegations or anything, just his personality is insufferable. But he was interviewing Werner Herzog, and that was a good episode just because of Herzog and not because of Krauss. But
right,
that was fun. And then because they were both talking about this book, the Peregrine, so now I bought that. I guess that's I was really thinking about subscribing to Masterclass after doing that again, but I mean, after watching that, I was going to subscribe to Masterclass again, and I'm like, I'm not paying $180 tonight. I need to get out of this rabbit hole and just go to bed. But yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe for more videos.
Follow us on Twitter, and check out our store. Buy a t-shirt.
Yes, we got t-shirts and pins and such.
But yeah, thank you, and check out past episodes. Have a good one. Bye.
Laters.